just started to question, I think, the whole spreadsheet in general and the validity of the numbers that were actually being generated, because we couldn't really tie or back into what was happening. The calculations were so complicated and all tied to each other throughout the spreadsheet that it was very difficult to, if there was an error or if a tenant, number at the end of the spreadsheet didn't make sense to prior numbers, it wasn't easy for us to back into how we got to that error. Before we even got to the billing, we had to take a step back and say, we had to look at the meters and say, are these accurately reading? Where are these meters? Are they calculating the right amount of usage? And so that was kind of step one with utiliVisor, was having them come in and do a full meter audit as part of a building recommissioning effort that we did. And once we were able to determine that these meters were accurate, and some of them weren't, and we actually had to replace them, then we were able to move into the billing piece. So I think what we have here at Longwood it's very complex, but it's also proprietary. I've never seen another system like this, and I'm sure Melissa and her team can speak a little bit more to the specifics of the complexities, but basically that's why we wanted some help.
So they have airflow, they have water meters, and they have electric meters, and they have steam meters. So they have every type of meter you can imagine installed at the building. Each tenant's bill is really their share of that consumption from pieces of equipment. So it's kind of set up in a type of pro rata share situation where they're kind of getting billed their usage of an air handling unit, but the output of that air handling unit is the sum of the tenants. So you have to sum all the meters to calculate the usage for that one tenant. So it just gets to be a little bit complex. And, when you're going in to generate the cost for equipment to run, there's, domestic water as an input, the gas from the utility and the electric from the utility. So it's more than a typical electric meter. This is the bill, they get charged what the bill was. So, it's multi-utility on the inputs and multi-utility on the outputs. So it's pretty complicated.
Since we are billing that pro rata share amongst all the tenants, if there's a meter issue on one of the tenant side, that can really affect the charges that we bill out to all of the tenants. So we also have alerts set up on the data that we're receiving. So if a meter drops off immediately, we're able to know and reach out to the building and try to diagnose what caused the issue and try to fix it.
The whole process. So we used to have to take the bills and enter the data into the Siemens spreadsheet. So we no longer have to do that. And from there, we would then generate a tenant invoice that we would send to each tenant. We no longer have to generate the invoice. That all comes from utiliVisor, which is super helpful. So two major steps off of our plate, that now we just receive the invoices from utiliVisor. We take a quick glance at them, make sure that everything looks in line and that there's no major red flags. But as Melissa said, they're also looking at that, which is obviously added layer of comfort for us. And if we don't notice anything, then we send them off to the tenants. For me personally, it's the security and the comfort knowing that utiliVisor is looking at this data and verifying it before it comes to us. Just having that added layer of someone else confirming the data, I think for us is the most valuable. On top of working with the team, I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed working with utiliVisor. It's been a super easy process, and they were able to, this probably isn't the right terminology, but kind of dumb things down for us and speak to us in layman's terms to make it easy for us to understand the complexity of these billings and calculations. Because for a normal traditional property manager, this isn't necessarily something that we would do to that level. It's more of a very high technical engineering level, which we needed some help wrapping our heads around. Having all of that data from the tenant side in one collective place makes the financial monthly process a lot smoother. No, but in all seriousness, it's been a wonderful relationship with utiliVisor, and we are very grateful and thankful that we were able to find these guys to help us, because it has taken a lot of pressure off of us, and so we're very happy and thankful for that.